Hello and welcome back to the channel. We are on episode 6 of Murderbot on Apple TV command feed. Laura, do you feel vindicated? Do you
I
feel
do. I do.
okay?
I do feel vindicated. I feel like I was right and it feels good.
Good. I'm glad. Labibi just
Crazy though.
too sus, too suspicious.
Crazy. Like, I was, obviously clearly like very invested in my own belief, but then when it started to happen, I was like, "Oh shit, this is going down right now."
Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe she shot Garathan. I believe she did
In
it,
the
but
knee of
in the
all
knee,
places.
that was ruthless. That was ruthless. And I respect to the writers for not doing this little song and dance of, like, chit chat, some dilly-dallying around this, is she gonna actually hurt someone? Is she gonna injure someone? What's this information? Blah, blah, blah. No, she just pulls it out and then that
Have
goodbye Garathan's kneecap.
have you ever seen the DreamWorks movie Megamind? Or maybe it was Sony, I don't know. But
No.
it's a kids movie, and it's hilarious, but one of the main tenets of, like, that and The Incredibles is how villains monologue.
Oh, yeah.
And in The
Yeah.
Incredibles, I think the best line in The Incredibles is, "You caught me monologuing."
But, like, she did and she didn't, like, she
Yeah,
got right down to business, which I really appreciate that in a
yeah, she did
villain.
not get caught monologuing.
Yeah, yeah. Good for her, good for them, good
Like,
for us.
we did kinda skip over the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
So, like, we leave the last episode, the beacon explodes, like, right in their faces, and then we go right into them. Everything's going crazy. The cuts, though, like, oh my god, girl, the scene in the hopper.
We moved to this neural cable transfer between Murderbot and the Hopper, like, connection being made. So hard to watch,
I would've
for
passed out.
one. I think they did a really good job of showcasing just how stressful that is, and Mensah is coming off of a panic attack
A
right into
bad one.
this, right
Yeah.
into this, and Murderbot decides to give her a little encouragement by saying something along the lines of like,
He said, "If you don't do it, little Jimmy's gonna die."
"Yeah, yeah."
I
She's
couldn't
like,
stop laughing.
"No, the preservation team, you're" yeah.
Yeah, just them.
It was so good, and I love how uncomfortable it was because we've got Murderbot who's just stone-faced throughout the entire event. How did Mensa do that? Like, I've sat in on operations before. I've never held a scalpel. You could not pay me. You could not pay
Mm-mm.
me. And that's the thing. It's just really hammering home how she sees it as human.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I had to keep telling myself, I was like, "It's just makeup. It's just prosthetics." Like,
Yeah.
because I felt the exact same way she did. Like, I would have been like, I don't think I could do this." But I guess, like, when it's, like, for real life or death, I would
Mhm.
assume that, like, your survival instincts kinda kick in and give you the space to do things you may not normally be able to do. But
Sure.
I am not gonna lie, Murderbot and I might have been hoofing it.
I On a merry little adventure.
Yeah, on a merry
Yeah,
little adventure on foot.
on foot. So our plan, our discussion on them maybe having a little fellowship moment didn't happen.
It
But
didn't.
the only fellowship that really happened was them cutting cutting body parts.
They make, like, quite the little team too.
I think so too. I really like Mensa, and there have been as you do when you're watching a TV show, you go online and see what other people are saying. I saw a post of someone absolutely losing it because they think Mensa is so just incapable and not smart enough and not
Really?
good enough. And I'm like, that is not at all what is coming across to me because you
Same.
I could never do what she just did. On top of that, just being in this hopper accident, she's probably in shock for one, like, they came down in a fiery crash, and now she's doing, like, pseudo surgery on an AI that she feels is humanoid in a way. Like, how can you not think that she's the MVP? Like, how can you not?
I don't really know. I think that she's like, if we're gonna talk about it in these terms, I really think she's performed in every episode. Like, I don't really understand what this if like assigning in like her being incapable because she has feelings and worries about like how her actions impact the world around her. I think that that's kind of a conflated concept. Like
Yeah, go into that
they're
some more.
they're conflating the idea that feelings make you weak.
True,
And
true.
that's exactly what they're saying when in reality like that's not so much the case, and quite frankly, I don't think that things would have gone as well as they have gone so far if it were just like feelings make you weak and this and that.
Right.
That's I don't know. I think that that was a misjudgment on their part.
I think so too, and I think and I'm not talking about this like one person saying this, I'm just speaking in generalizations
Right.
here, but sometimes characters you don't get the internal thoughts from that character in books or in a show or whatever. And so Mensah on paper might look very strong and determined and not as hesitant as she does on the show, but you don't really get her thoughts like that. We don't really see what she's going through in her own mind. And I
Yeah.
think this is a good way to visualize that without her having to say, I'm stressed or, like I'm in shock or
Yeah.
etc.
And I think that's a really good point to make because in books, a lot of time, especially if they're written in the third person, you're going to get a lot more narration. You're going to get a lot
Yeah.
more insight into what's happening internally with the character. And it is impossible to do that in a television show without overlaid narration.
Yeah.
Like, you
It's
know how we get Murderbot's overlay
right.
narration? That's why everything that it's doing makes sense, is because we know
Yeah.
all of its internal workings and motives. Whereas, like, with the rest of the team, we're not getting that.
Yeah, in the books, you only at least the books that I've read, you don't get anything besides Murderbot's POV. And so, how would we know what any of these people are feeling besides Murderbot? It's just you wouldn't. And so I think people interpret what they read in their own special way, but it's interesting how I mean, a lot of the people that I've talked to really enjoy Mensa. I'm one of them, but I don't know, like, the actress is great. All of the actors and actresses are really
Yeah, I've
good.
really enjoyed everybody that's been on here.
Even Labibi, who is so weird,
So,
so weird.
but it was still really well acted.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, she really sold the discomfort and, like,
Mhm.
she really makes it uncomfortable, and I think, like, that is in itself good acting.
Yeah, when she was talking about, like, "I wanna have a kid,"
Oh my
and
god,
all
that
this stuff, and I was like
oh, that was that's part of what made, like, her guns so shocking because we go from these insane, awkward conversations and we just jump right over.
Yeah, yeah. It's from one extreme to the next with this show, in a way where it's almost jarring, but it makes it so fast-paced and so quick, and I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I think for me, the big question mark of this episode and I feel like, as, like, a theme for the story itself is where do you draw the line between human and other, human and machine? Because even though Murderbot continues to say things and I guess do things and you hear it say stuff to make you think it doesn't care. It's just it's trying to help Mensa to like get them back on track so they can get out of there, get the hopper working and go. But you can't help but think and guess it's just a unreliable narrator, and you're kind of like, It cares. It cares to an extent. It could
To
just
an
walk out
extent.
of there. It could just walk away. There's nothing stopping it from walking away besides the company finding it and tracking it down and melting it down. That's
Right.
the extent of, I guess, motivations that we've been given for it in terms of why does it stick around. But even then, it could still just let everyone die. Like, what's the worst that could happen? They send a transport to pick it up and everyone's dead, and it's like, I couldn't save them. And then it goes on to the next research team or group or whatever. It's acting in a way that makes you believe that it does care. And so
I would agree for sure.
I just,
Especially like how Murderbot will, like let's use an example from this episode being Mensah's having a heart palpitations and increased heart rate from having a panic attack due to like shock and trauma. And Murderbot doesn't just like bark commands or admonish her. It's like, hey, let's watch this specific episode of Sanctuary Moon. Very calming. We're breathing in the crystal air.
yeah,
Like that kind of thing, making these attempts to make the humans that it's working with feel more emotionally settled seems to be kind of outside the purview of a normal sec unit.
right, right. And I mean, that's what I think is, I guess, so interesting and I think really great about this series is because the way that Murderbot is acting feels so human. Like, there's so much
Yeah,
humanity in what it's doing. Even though it says it doesn't care, the way that it's
right.
presenting itself shows that it cares. And so if you are sentient and sapient and have free will, and even though you don't have emotions, you're trying to, in a weird way, soothe those who do have emotions. You're starting to understand what those emotions are, even if you don't like it. Where do you draw the line between human and other? And like it just keeps coming back to the fact where, like, as a question in philosophy, something that people have been arguing about for forever, and when you get to this question with Murderbot, it's just like, I guess the humanity lies in wherever Murderbot says it lies, and we just have to go on what it says and what it
Yeah.
decides for itself. Like the autonomy of it all, that's the answer. It gets to choose what it is, and
Yeah.
it's great.
I mean, I would agree that, like, I can totally see where the Preservation Alliance comes from with being like, we're not really into this whole indentured servitude, human tissue sec units. Like, for us, that kind of crosses that line. And I think I would tend to agree with them, especially since, like, they're all getting different faces. And
Yeah,
yeah, like, they're using human, like, even if it's cloned, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not, that doesn't like draw a line and to do whatever you want to it.
right, right.
So I think that there's a lot like going on. And I personally think that part of why Murderbot doesn't like, just kind of get mad and kill everybody is because the Preservation Alliance group that it's with is very respectful of its autonomy and has
Yeah.
really made like an effort to make it feel like part of the crew.
Mhm.
They do a really good job of managing Murderbot's kind of like I don't want to say moodiness, but it's like you never know how it's going to feel. Don't look me in the eyes, or yeah, I guess we can do this breathing exercise together. That kind of like there's a lot of exchange going on between the group and Murderbot in a way where it's like, okay, obviously it's not just any sec unit. There's something special and different about this one.
Right, and I think that brings up another question is, where do we envision this going further? Say we meet another sec unit that doesn't have a governor module, that's hacked its governor module. Do we get a
Ooh,
totally different personality? And I
I
think
would assume so.
and I think that's where they did lay a little bit of groundwork for that in this episode because as they're doing this, I'll call it a surgery, but as that's going on, Murderbot says, like, "Oh, yeah, even some transports have organic parts as well. I'm surprised you didn't know that." And she's like, "No, I didn't know that." And so we're getting to know that there are other AIs out there who have organic and inorganic parts that are constructs. And so for me, one of my favorite parts about the books is going through and you start meeting these other non-human characters where Murderbot has its own personality. These other ones might be driven and motivated by other things, and it's cool, it's fun, and I think those interactions are where you start to see some of the real I don't know, like, it's funny in a way because Murderbot is kind of glib about things, but,
The
like
commentary is incredible.
yeah, yeah, it's so good, and the way we see through its eyes on how it feels about these other constructs and its relationship with these other constructs is just it's so good, it's so good, and don't get me wrong, like, the humans are fun, like, the preservation team, a lot of fun,
Yeah,
but,
they
like,
are.
when you start to meet some of these other, like, art, oh my god, like, I it makes me so excited for them to renew this and get to season 2 as fast as possible.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I would release season 2 next month, please. Like, just
Right?
do it. Just do it.
And I think they had a quick shooting for this too. It was like, I think 6 months or something like that, which is pretty fast.
I mean, I could definitely see that. You're working on a lot of like closed sets. The episodes are remarkably quick.
Mhm.
I could definitely see getting all of the filming for 10 episodes done in 6 months.
Yeah. So, I guess the one thing that we didn't learn this episode because Labibi gets her head shot off before she
Right.
can totally explain, like, who she's working for.
Exactly.
Yeah, do you think she's from the company or another another group or
So, all right. I guess it would depend on how honest she was being about her indentured servitude contract, because if that contract is a real thing, then that seems to be like her motivation to get millions of credits. I can't see what else other like I mean, unless she just wants to be independently wealthy, which feels girl, but I
there would
don't
be
think
a yeah, but like we said last week, there would be a
yeah.
paper trail of her working for the
Yeah.
company. She wouldn't get very
I don't
far.
yeah, which is why and, like, Murderbot makes a really good point, which is dead clients are really bad for the company's PR and business because, A, you can't make money off dead clients. B, you're probably paying out for dead client like, there's
Yeah.
a list of reasons why they wouldn't be involved, but it could also be like a faction within the company. You know how, like in Dune Prophecies, there was the faction within the Bene Gesserit, kind of like that kind of thing.
Yeah, so like a group within the
Yeah,
group.
we could have like a rogue group within the group, but personally, I this feels very third party.
Okay. Okay.
But third party paying the company to turn a blind eye because the map thing
Ooh.
yeah, the map thing clearly unless okay, I could come up with a variable for why the company's not involved again, which is with the maps, maybe the company doesn't realize that their data has been compromised, but I just find that really hard to believe in like this age of tech that we're looking at. So
Mhm.
I think that it's probably like faction within faction and then yeah, that this is definitely coming from within possibly within their programming department. because it's gotta be
Ooh,
somebody who can have access to maps. And
okay.
it's also gonna have to be somebody who has the security clearance to have access to these maps.
Or somebody that can just hack the maps.
That's also true, and I would imagine with, like, the capability of computing in this, it wouldn't be, like, super hard to find you could probably get a sec unit to do it for you. But
True.
it's gotta be somebody with money, big money,
Okay. Yeah.
because I don't imagine that firing up an operation to build sec units is necessarily cheap. So that still leads me back to somebody from the company. Like, somebody had to get these blueprints. Like, there's a lot of data that's been taken from the company. So it could be like a past employee, it could be a current disgruntled, it could be the group. I don't know, but it's kind of hard to tell what their motives are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing I'm not sure about is what is the motive to like keep people away from this planet unless it's like some ultra valuable resource.
Right. And I
Could
think
they have brought in the little monster centipedes? Because it's like very convenient that they're living inside of these blank map spaces, like little guard dogs.
I
Like okay,
assumed
maybe like a junkyard dog, a junkyard centipede, if you will.
worm thing. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to reread book 1 and see, like, if, where I'm at in the series, if there's any big clues that I totally missed the first time around. I don't know, though. These are just, like, so bite-sized, it would take nothing to go back and reread it, but it was also, like, years ago that I read it the first time, but I don't know, like, this next episode, I'm ready for them to, like, hit the pavement and start,
Yeah, they gotta hit this
like,
dusty trail.
yeah, like, they gotta get out of here, and I'm kind of excited to see if we get a more, like, fast-paced, action-y episode or something kind of
Huh.
mixed with a little bit more character building stuff because I feel like Garathan really needs to process some things, and we
Yeah,
didn't
like
talk
how he
about,
feels about Mensa.
like, how he feels about Mensah, but also last week we didn't talk about him getting choked out by Murderbot, and so
Oh, I forgot about that.
but, like, I get where he's coming from. He's got a grudge against Murderbot. I can see why, but Murderbot just came in and saved the day again, and so I feel like he's gonna have to be dealing with a lot of things while also kind of being in shock. Like, he looked like he was in shock.
Yeah.
Rati is puking. Pin Lee is just laughing. Like, such a great way to showcase, like, trauma
Oh,
within, like, half a
actually,
second.
yeah. So the show did a really good job, like showcasing the affect of trauma because, a lot of times in shows like this, Murderbot would pop in, blow the head off, and everybody would be chill.
Yeah, like,
Or
"Okay, we gotta
like
go."
cynical somehow, maybe
Mhm.
nihilistic about it. But this shows a much more realistic view of what would happen if somebody popped into a room full of people and blew the head off of one of them. That would be a gory scene.
Right? Right?
And
That
then yeah, we get like the spectrum of of immediate trauma responses. We've got one laughing, one frozen, one puking,
it's all
one
over the place.
crying, and
Yeah,
then one devolving psychologically is which is what it looked like was happening to Grathan
but you know who
because
kept it together? You know who didn't freak out or do anything?
Mensa.
Mensah. Mensah.
Yeah, but I think Mensa has a much different relationship with Murderbot than the rest of them.
Yeah, but she did just watch somebody get their head blown off. Or was she,
Yeah.
like
Well, but
she
also remember she was involved in the beacon explosion, so she might be less like, "Oh my god."
she might be running on adrenaline at this
Yeah.
point.
And like
Like,
she's like deeply aware that somebody is out to kill them.
yeah.
And the rest are only now finding out and like so they've got to take in what's happening with this third party and take in witnessing a violent crime all in like a span of a couple minutes. And I can see where everybody's like freaking out, but Murderbot and Mensah are right. Like, we need to put a pin in these panics and we got to just like dissociate from it for a minute. We got to get on this hopper. We got to get out of here. Murderbot can only take on so many things at one time, you know?
Yeah, and Mensah did have a little bit of time to come to grips with the fact that somebody is trying to kill them, and that's why they came back so quick. So maybe she had already been running scenarios in her head that
Yeah.
trip there about what she was going to walk into, and she's I would assume she was just relieved that none of her people had been killed at that point.
I would agree, you know, and it's a scene when she comes in. Like, she walks in after the head explodes, and like, everybody's already, like, in a full trauma episode by the time she walks in the door, and that does seem to, like, bring Garatham back to life a little, because when he heard Mensah was dead, it looked like he was gonna die of a broken heart kinda thing.
Yeah, yeah,
But, you know what was one of my favorite parts about this scene? Is
tell me.
it's the opener, the shoulder massage train was the opener to this scene, and it was perfect. I was laughing so hard.
The way that Rati was, like, behind, like,
Yeah.
working on the one, and then, like, he was there for 2 seconds, and then he's sitting at the bottom getting his shoulders worked on and, like, a quick like, what a taker, what a taker. I just I don't know. I think his this their little throuple is honestly, like, it's so silly, but
I love it so
it's so
much.
good. It's
Yeah.
so funny. Oh my god, and then he's playing this, like, instrument, I don't know whatever it was. You know, the most suspicious Labibi has ever been is she walks by and she's like, "Oh, sounds good," and he's, like, going to town on this, like,
It sounds like, for anybody who has kids, I'm sure they remember, like, 5th
recorder.
recorders from 5th grade. Oh, man, when my son brought one home, I was like, "Oh, is it that
Oh.
time? It must be that time."
But,
It's just
oh,
that, those loud, shrill sounds.
yeah, yeah, our poor parents. Yeah. But that's I don't know, that's kind of that's the energy that Rati really brings. He just what a gem, what a gem, what a guy.
I really enjoy his character.
Was he was the one who puked, right?
Yeah,
He
he was the
puked.
one who puked.
Okay. Oh, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to touch on. I'm kind of going through the moments of the episode.
This episode, I feel like it went really quickly. And it might be because there's actually, like, only a handful of scenes.
Yeah. Was there where would you put this one in your ranking so far?
Ooh. Mm. I don't know. I really enjoyed this episode. Like, it's existing in, like, multiple extremes at one time. I would say it's probably number 3.
Okay. I like this one for me is tied for first with 4.
Yeah, I really liked 4, but I also really enjoyed 1.
Yeah, it was a good entryway into the story. I think I don't know, like, that ending, like, we're dealing with all this emotional stuff, and then you go right to this ending, and it's just, like,
Yeah.
such a finish.
Yeah, but it's,
It's
like, the same reason I enjoy 4 so much is, like, Roddy with the gun and, there's so many like,
good.
these moments of, like, physical comedy are really hilarious in the show, and it really, like, brings an episode together.
When even again, when Murderbot is losing consciousness and it starts speaking gibberish, I love how they decided, like, yes, he's just gonna speak Swedish and we're gonna subtitle that as, like, speaking gibberish. Like, I know he threw in a couple of Swedish words, but, like, it's just so silly, like, it's so funny. I think the head explosion at the end of the episode was just great. It's not my all-time favorite head decapitation scene. I mean, that has to
Oh,
go
oh
to
my
The
god.
Expanse. That has to go
Actually,
that has to go
the
to
best
Shed in The Expanse. Spoiler
I th
warning, sorry.
I'll be honest, I think the best head explosion I've ever seen was I recently saw the movie Ballerina. It's part of the John Wick franchise,
Oh, okay. I know what you're
and
talking
there
about.
is this incredible ultra violence scene, and it doesn't use guns, and the head explosion in that one is crazy. It's, like, off the chain. I might go see it again because I have that, like, movie pass.
No, but, like, that's just how you do an ending.
Yeah.
Like, the gore, the guts, the all of it, it was a good one. It was a good one.
This show does a really good job of, like I said, combining, like, multiple things into one. Like, we've got a lot of comedy, but also, like, a lot of seriousness that's just interwoven between
Mhm.
these really amusing moments.
It always takes me back when I click the episode and it's like, "Are you 16 or older?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, like, I guess it is violent." Like, it for some reason, it doesn't
Oh,
register because of the
that wouldn't register with me.
well, maybe it's just because I'm in Germany and in the US, like, they're like, "Everybody violence is violence."
Well, yeah, the US loves violence.
If there was nudity, then you would get the warning.
Oh,
May
okay,
I'm
yeah.
joking, but it could be for real
Well, I
here.
could see that, honestly. It's more likely to get a warning for nudity or certain swear words than ultra violence.
Right. But, like, I don't know, like, it reminded me of one of my favorite decapitations, which was in The Expanse, and I think there's something about it being so violent, so bloody, and so quick that it's unexpected. Where, like, he comes in, Murderbot comes in, it doesn't hesitate at all. I wasn't sure if it was just going to be like, oh, how they'll do, like, the
Yeah,
bullet, and then it's like a
but
little
then
trickle
but
of
they made it made sense because it's energy weapons.
Yeah, but, like, I still wasn't expecting that, which
When
it was
Garathan was
great.
like, "You almost killed me," I was like,
Garathan, shut up.
"Buddy, she was going to kill you."
Yeah. Should we wrap it up there? Was there
Yeah.
anything else? Okay.
Actually,
Okay, okay.
I I'm trying to, like, figure out, I mean, we've nailed down there's gonna be some sort of scene and some sort of comedy at some point about
Yeah?
getting everybody on the hopper, but where are they gonna go?
Oh,
What, like, hide on the planet somewhere else? Or are they going
home. Back in
home?
orbit? Yeah.
Yeah. Is that hopper even capable to
I
be in
think
orbit, let alone wormholes?
I would assume they would go from hopper to, like, a transport ship.
Okay. Do they have their own transport ship? Or would they need to call the company with the beacon that doesn't
Yeah,
exist anymore?
yeah. We shall see, we shall
So where
see.
could they even go?
Or
Oh,
maybe
I'd be
they
freaking out.
yeah, or maybe they make a getaway and are presented with another problem.
I'd be
So
so upset. Like, where's Shai Halud when I need him? I'm gonna
Wah,
need
wah, wah.
I need I'd be like, "Yeah, we're gonna need Paul Atreides on this mission. Send him out there to deal with those sand centipedes." Just ima him riding one.
You imagine they
I
close
don't
out the
know.
episode and there's just me.
That would be so incredible. Please do
Uh,
it.
all right, I'm wrapping it up there
Okay.
before this gets any more ridiculous. Everyone, thanks for watching. Please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. And Laura and I will be back to cover more Murderbot episodes as the season comes to an end. And we'll also cover more different shows and stuff like that. So make sure you are subscribed, and we will see you back next time.